Hello everyone and welcome back to Speak Like a Leader. Today we're continuing our journey towards writing flawless business emails by focusing on an essential element that is no other than tenses. You may recall in our last lesson that while a few grammar mistakes might slip by unnoticed in verbal communication, written English tells a different story. In emails, reports and presentations, those small errors can really stick out. They can affect how your message is received and how your professionalism is perceived. After all, your emails could end up in front of a wide audience, people who will read them carefully and form opinions about your English skills. In this series of lessons, we're diving into common business writing mistakes that my students often face. In lesson number 1, we tackled the correct use of articles. In lesson number 2, we focused on prepositions, and today we'll turn our attention to grammar tenses, because using the wrong tense in an email sentence can confuse the reader and misinterpret when something actually happened. So let's dive in. So which tense should we be using in our emails? Today we'll be focusing on 5 basic tenses: the present simple, present continuous, past simple, future simple, and present simple. Let's start with the simplest tense, the present simple. When do we use the present simple? We use it to describe routine activities, things that we do routinely. For example, our team meets every Tuesday. It's something that it does every single Tuesday. It's a routine. When you want to state facts, for example, the office opens at 9 a.m. because it opens every day at 9 a.m. and that is a fact. And when you're making generalizations, for example, good communication improves team efficiency. In your business emails, you will also be using the present simple when you're reporting results. For example, the report highlights key findings. And when you're giving instructions, please fill out the form completely. So these are the 5 cases where you use the present simple, the verb in its simplest form. Let's move on to the present continuous, where we see the verb with an ing at the end. I am doing something. You use the present continuous when you're talking about actions that are happening now. Keyword now. Anything that's happening now, you need the present continuous. For example, I am reviewing the documents now. When you're describing ongoing projects, we are developing a new marketing strategy. Or when you're indicating future plans, I am meeting with a client next week. You also use the present continuous when you're expressing temporary situations. For example, the team is working from home this week, so they're only going to be working from home this week. It's temporary. And when you're highlighting changing situations, the market is evolving rapidly. It's changing. Let's move on to the past simple. So obviously this refers to things that have happened in the past. When you're describing something that happened in the past and was completed, you use the past simple. For example, we launched the product last month. So whenever you have a time frame in the past, you use the past simple. When you're narrating, when you're describing events in the past, I attended the conference in 2022. Or stating a series of actions, we analyzed the data and created a report. Both verbs are in the past simple. You will also use the past simple when you're sharing historical facts, like the company was founded in 1999, or talk about past habits. I often traveled for business last year. Now, what about future tenses, the future simple? When you want to make predictions about the future, for instance, sales will increase next quarter, or when you want to state future intentions, I will send the revised document tomorrow. Also, when you're offering or requesting help, I will assist you with that task. And finally, when you're talking about scheduled events that are going to happen in the future, for example, the meeting will start at 3 p.m., or when you're making promises, we will deliver the project on time. Now let's move on to our last tense for today, the present perfect. Now many of my students confuse the past simple with the present perfect. Let me remind you that we use the past simple for actions that happened in the past and were completed in the past, whereas the present perfect describes actions that started in the past but are still relevant in the present. For example, I have submitted the report, or talking about experiences without specifying when. She has worked with many international clients. Now, if you wanted to use the past simple in this sentence, you would say, she worked with many international clients 3 years ago. So you have to specify that it was completed in the past if you're going to use the simple past. And referring to recently completed actions like, we have just launched the new product. You also use the present perfect when you want to describe changes over time, like the company has grown significantly in the last 5 years, or actions that began in the past and continue to the present. I have worked here since 2018, so I started in 2018, but I'm still working here. Now, of course, everyone makes a few mistakes here and there, so why don't we take a look at some common mistakes that most of my students make in their emails. Okay, so here we have 5 sentences with some mistakes, and those sentences are highlighted in red. The first one says, I seen the report yesterday. That becomes, I saw the report yesterday. You need the past simple because you're referring to an action that was completed in the past since you have the word yesterday. We will discuss about the project becomes, we will discuss the project. Here the tense is correct, but what's wrong? The preposition. If you want to learn more about prepositions, go back to lesson number 2. He agreed to the terms. He has agreed to the terms. We need the present perfect here because we don't have a specific time frame, do we? I'm working here since 2019 becomes I have been working here since 2019 because I'm still working here. It's not an action that was completed in the past. It's an ongoing action. They finishes the tasks on time becomes they finish the tasks on time. So the tense is correct here, but we have the plural form. So it's they finish. Another important issue when dealing with grammar tenses is consistency when using the tenses. Let's look at this further. Consistency matters, and you need to be consistent in your use of tenses within a single piece of writing. For example, when you say, we reviewed the proposal and we wait for feedback, it's incorrect and it's inconsistent because we refer to 2 different actions happening at different time frames. The way you should write this is we reviewed the proposal and we are now waiting for feedback. You have to ensure that the time frame is clear throughout your email. So I know that memorizing all these tenses is quite difficult, so why didn't I give you some useful tips that you can use in your emails? Tip number 1, use present perfect for recent actions. For example, I have completed the report. Tip number 2, use past perfect for actions that occurred before another past action. For example, by the time the meeting started, I had finished my presentation. Tip number 3, use future perfect for actions to be completed before a certain point. For example, by next month, we will have launched the new product. And tip number 4, maintain clarity by specifying the time frame. I will send a document tomorrow. So specify when you are going to send the document. Other important tips are always identify the purpose of your message before you decide on the correct tense. Read your emails out loud to check for clarity and consistency. Use timelines if necessary or charts to visualize tense usage in your writing. Practice writing different types of emails with varied tenses. And if necessary, seek feedback from colleagues to improve your tense usage. Now let's move on to a fill-in-the-gap exercise where we have to put the verbs in brackets into the correct tense. Let's start with number 1. Please send me the report as soon as you what? As soon as you complete it. We use the present simple here for future action. Number 2. Last year, we something a successful marketing campaign. What's the correct tense? Launched. Very good. We use the past simple for a completed action because it happened last year. Number 3. I something the document now and will send it shortly. Careful here. You have the word now. So what is the tense you need to use? Present continuous for an ongoing action. So I am reviewing the document now and will send it shortly. Number 4. By the end of this week, the budget proposal. We need the future perfect here for an action that will be completed by a certain time. So either we will finalize or we will have finalized the budget proposal. Number 5. She something the conference last month and learned valuable insights. So the conference happened last month. You have a completed action. So you need the past simple. She attended the conference last month and learned valuable insights. Let's move on to number 6. I something multiple meetings today, so I'll reply to your email this evening. Now, you want to describe an action that happened at an unspecified time in the past but has relevance to the present. What tense would you use? The present perfect tense. So, I have had multiple meetings today. Good. Number 7. We something the presentation for next week's conference. We're looking for a tense that describes actions happening right now or in the near future. So the present continuous. We are preparing the presentation for next week's conference. Number 8. He with us for over 5 years now. So he started working for us, but he's still working now. He has worked with us. Very good. The present perfect tense indicating an action that started in the past and continues to the present. Number 9. By next year, our team into new markets. So we're looking for a future tense here. By next year, our team will expand or will have expanded into new markets. Good. And number 10, they something the project before the deadline last quarter. They finished the project before the deadline last quarter. We want the past simple tense used for actions completed in the past. And there you have it. Mastering tenses is crucial for clear and professional business communication. With practice, you will be able to enhance the quality of your emails and ensure that your messages are conveyed as accurately as possible. Don't forget to complete the exercises we covered today to reinforce this understanding. And if you found today's lesson helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to watch the entire series on how to avoid common grammar mistakes in business emails. Thank you for watching and see you in the next lesson.